When Ludwig Nobel died in 1888, a journalist who mistakenly identified him as Alfred published Alfred's obituary instead. Alfred Nobel was able to see before him a summary of the achievements of his life. Materially, it had been a great success. He was very rich. He was a scientific genius. He invented dynamite together with the even more potent solution, blasting gelatin, and in 1880 he patented an almost smokeless gunpowder that European armies rushed to buy. In his obituary, he was described as the merchant of death. Alfred Nobel was shocked. Was this all his life had been about? Enabling humankind to destroy itself more efficiently? This chilling incident caused Nobel to make a complete U-turn, instructing his executors to invest over 90% of his fortune to establish what is now known as the Nobel Prizes, a series of 5 prizes awarded annually to those persons who had contributed most to the benefit of humankind during the preceding year. If you died today, what would your obituary say?
From Luke chapter 12, verses 16 to 21. And he told them this parable.
The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, "What shall I do? I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "This is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, 'You have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you, and then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God.'"
Then Jesus said to his disciples,
"Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn. Yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds. Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider how the wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today, and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, you of little faith? And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it, for the pagan world runs after all such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well."
How to plan for your future. In this passage from Luke's Gospel, Jesus tells a story about another successful man, a businessman who made a lot of money, was considering plans for expanding his company, and was looking forward to the prospect of early retirement. Jesus' hearers would have been basking in this tale of wealth and success. But Jesus tells us that his obituary was written by God. It was very short. Just, "You fool." The Greek word for fool literally means someone without thought. Although he planned, he didn't think about the really important questions of life. Here are 3 aspects to consider for your life. First, plan for the long term. The man in the parable made mistakes about the length of his life. He assumed he had many years to live. In fact, he was to die that very night and would have to give an account of his life. What's more, he never thought beyond this life. In counting on time here, he forgot about eternity. So many people take such a short-term view, but it's a wise person who takes a long-term view. Second aspect is think about the meaning of life. The man thought that life was all about having the hallmarks of success: treasure, leisure, and pleasure. Treasure. But Jesus points out life does not consist in the abundance of possessions. Material prosperity does not fully satisfy, and it does not last. Leisure. The man had planned to take life easy. Leisure is a blessing, but it does not give meaning to life. Pleasure. He was going to eat, drink, and be merry. Again, this well-tried combination never truly satisfies. As the actor Jim Carrey said, I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so they can see it's not the answer. There is nothing wrong with material possessions, playing a lot of golf, or enjoying our food and drink. But these are not what life is really about. Life is all about a relationship with God through Jesus Christ and our relationship with others. The third aspect to consider is to recognize your greatest need. The fool thought he was self-sufficient. He thought he could do it by himself. He didn't need God or anyone else. Actually, he was very self-centered. Self-centeredness is the root of the human problem. This is why Jesus came to set us free from the cell of our own self-centeredness. The rich man failed to understand the way to be truly rich. He was not rich towards God. As has been pointed out, a person wrapped up in themselves makes a very small package. Jesus encourages you to look beyond material possessions and physical needs. Don't fuss about what's on the table at meal times or if the clothes in your closet are in fashion. There's nothing wrong with these things, but they should not be your focus. Life is more than food and the body more than clothes. Jesus goes on to say, seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. When you make God your first priority and see the needs beyond ourselves, Jesus is saying that our own needs will also be taken care of in the process. It's worth asking yourself these questions. First, are you living only for today, or do you have an eternal perspective? Second, what are your priorities? Are they treasure, leisure, and pleasure, or your relationship with God and loving others? Third, do you find yourself focusing on or worrying about your physical and material needs? What could you do to look beyond these things and trust God to provide? Then, if you like, echo this prayer. Lord, I'm sorry for the times when I made treasure, leisure, and pleasure my primary ambition. Help me to refocus my life, to seek you above all other things, and to serve you wholeheartedly.